Welcome back to another video. As you can see, behind me is my tractor and I have to do some maintenance. One of the big problems is fuel leaking next to the injectors. Two injectors have a leaky fuel, so we need to check what's wrong with there. Because I put brand new rings, so it should be all good, but I guess something got between and it's pushing fuel out. This is also creating a bit of smoke puffing out of the exhaust, so we need to address that. Second thing we need to adjust is the clutch. So we need to adjust the actual pressing bearing, so it's a bit out of adjustment. Because I'm having it, the clutch is following whenever I have it fully pressed in, so it means you get a bit of grinding. Fix that. And the reason we're fixing all of this is because we have decided this year to cut our own grass. So we have gotten secured a cutter and we are secured also a baler. So we're gonna go get a baler as well, and we already have a rake. So we're gonna be doing our own bale, so it's gonna be small square bales. And it's gonna be first time cutting our own hay, raking it and baling it. So it's gonna be very interesting. So we need to prepare this thing just so it's ready for this job. So let's get started with the back. I have to add these kind of apples, I call them. They're called apples in Latvian. And these little balls that kind of move around. I have none in the back and it's really jiggly once I add a tool. So let's go weld one in. I only have one. I need to go pick up the other one. I ordered it, but it had to arrive a few days, so I'll get that in a few days and then I'll add it. So let's get started with that. So this is the one that is missing, and that one as well. Let me show you how it should look. And that's how it should look. This is the other tractor, and this one has perfect balls. I was thinking about taking these arms fully off, but there's so many screws and so many pins you need to take off that it's just too much of a mess. I'd rather leave it on this tractor. We anyways gonna get this tractor working this summer, and it's gonna be our secondary tractor as well. So I got a bit more properly dressed because the cutting sparks don't hurt that much, but the welding sparks, those hurt a lot. So you don't want to get hit by welding sparks. And I'm going to use electrodes instead of the typical one I'm using usually is the automatic welder, the MIG. But that one is only 100 amps and I feel like we need a bit more amperage to secure these in place. I'm going to start with a smaller rod and then go with the bigger one after. Not my best welds, but they'll definitely hold. I don't like stick welding so much. I don't know how to weld with that. I've learned only on the automatic MIG. I'm getting a bit better, but I'm still confused of what is my weld and what is the slag. So that's the most biggest confusion for me, but it's gonna hold. I went over 3 times all around, and my floppy welding I think should be covered up by the amount I put on there, and it should be perfectly fine. I don't think we're gonna be putting it so much pressure to break off so easily. So yeah, now we just need the other one, but let's get on with the window. I'm gonna rip out the glass from that. First I'm gonna go ahead and dress because I'm sweating because it's really hot and I need to get dressed fully not to get burned. But then we're gonna get on with the window, the back window. now that should be fine. Another problem I'm having is this door not staying closed, open more. So I want to make some sort of latch to keep it open so it doesn't be flopping around when I'm driving or doing something. So I need to figure out. There was a hook here, but that's all broken. So we can see if we can make that work somehow. So I did fix the door, but seems like it's a bit sagged down, but that does close. So now at least it latches correctly. I did steal the spring from the other tractor, so I need to go in store and buy exactly the same spring, just to have two. But besides that, it seems to work. Just need to tighten these bolts, and for closing mechanism, for keeping it open, sorry, I found a big spring. I'm gonna drill a small hole, and that spring keeps the door in place. I think that's perfectly fine. So I think we have solved the door problem. Next up is going to be the clutch. I don't think I'm going to film that because it's all the way down in there. And I'm going to try to adjust that. And then I have to fix the injectors. So I've been working on this and I got it working. This thing pretty much was so stiff you could barely move it with your hands. And the spring was not working, so I thought it was the spring's fault, but actually it was completely seized down here, and I took it all off. I had to fight for half an hour just to get it off. It was so seized, and now I cleaned it, put some grease. It has a plastic bearing inside, and it's working fantastic. So here you start pressing the clutch. Here it's kind of sitting free. I would like to make it more like to sit evenly here, but we'll see. I have to check the gap of the bearing. And now I'm adjusting the main clutch bearing because that one is way too loose. That's where it starts hitting the bearing, which is way too far, and the gap is way too huge. So we need to adjust that because we're not pressing the clutch out fully. We'll see about this one. I think this one should be working properly. So I have fixed the cabin. I actually had to lift it up a bit and put it on rubber pads. I had done it wrong way around. I put the rubber pads on the top and not on the bottom. Maybe there was also on the top and the bottom because it kind of has a groove, so I thought that's where they go just to stop the vibration, but they go below. That's why this floor I couldn't attach it. It was all sitting way too high up, this one, and that was too low. But now it's all combined. We have solid floor, we have clutch working, we have PTO clutch working. I fixed the door. I have a bit of a spring here so it keeps itself open when it's hot. What else did I do? I cannot think. Fix this hose that was hanging, and I think that's about it for now. Now I gotta get to the injectors, and then we're gonna give it a bit of a wash. We're gonna try to take some of this grease and some of this diesel off. This is not oil, this is diesel that's been leaking from the injectors and getting shut up with airflow. So we're gonna try to see if we can fix the diesel first and then give it a wash. as you can see, the engine's cleaned out. I did spray it with engine cleaning foam and then I washed it just to get off all that diesel and oil on anything, because all of that's going to be collecting dust. And if we want to cut hay, and especially not while cutting it, but more when you are raking the hay and baling, you're going to get an insane amount of dust in there, and you don't want it to be sticking in there and getting all piled up. It probably will be, and we have to keep an eye on it. That's why also I tried to fix the engine sensor, the one that checks for temperature. Maybe the sensor needs to be replaced, so I do want to give it a test and see if it actually reaches the temperature, because currently, you know, it's 40 degrees. Currently it's on 40 degrees minimum, so until it reaches that, it's not going to show it. And it's not showing the engine temperature, it's showing the oil temperature. That's how it manages the temperature. That's how the best way for these engines to be checked, because they are air cooled. So let's give it a start and see if there's any fuel leaks and if everything's working fine. I think it should be all good. Ready? So currently none of the diesel is leaking out, so that's good. But I do see that this is leaking here a bit, so I need to redo this one. And something with the oil coming out of this, but this could be built up from the before, so we'll see if that clears up and burns away, since that's the exhaust, so it might just burn away. But other than that, it's working perfectly. The clutch is now pressing it out. It's not grinding the gears, only at the start, which is normal for the gearbox to slow down, and then you can switch the gears, so it doesn't have kind of like a brake to stop the gearbox straight away. But otherwise, you can put reverse, back and forth, put all the gears once you're holding the clutch. No problem. Before it was grinding and it was struggling, so it was not pressing the clutch out all the way. So that's all working. And I feel like it's running a lot better because it was sucking some air in. If the injectors are a bit loose, it sucks a bit of air in and it prevents clean running, so it runs much better. But I need to adjust my hand throttle. It's now way too far away and it's trying to really stall the tractor too much, kind of like rolling it back on its own, because I lifted the whole cab up, so it means I lifted the throttle up as well by those few centimeters, which means that where it was sitting still is now a lot further, so it means it's trying to stop the tractor all the time. But yeah, that's pretty much it with this video. Hopefully next time we're gonna have all the other equipment. So now we need to fix the hay rake, we need to get the mower, the grass cutter, and we need to go get the baler. So we're gonna have a baler and all the other tools, and we're gonna be ready for cutting. We need to hurry up because the grass needs to be cut. Okay, see you next time. I did drill a hole for when I'm working. Good look now. Stays closed. That was not happening before. I wish it was clicked in there. But
and it clicks kind of on its own.
Did it?
Yep.
Oh yeah, it actually did click on its own. Interesting.